What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Well, today is Monday the 8th, I believe it is today. Beautiful day outside, getting ready to go train. And I want to make this video. Now, Facebook I've been doing a lot of these videos on, and I've only been sharing them on Facebook because I feel like this is the medium that works best on Facebook for me. I get the best response, I get the most traction out of what I'm doing rather than writing posts. Doing these videos, so that's why I've been doing more of these videos during this quarantine. And hey buddy, Brady's kind of hanging out here. We just sit on the porch, we do our emails and stuff out here in the morning. I want to talk about something that I feel like I should speak up on. Not many other people are speaking up on it. I'm not really sure why, but I do feel like it's my responsibility to speak up on this because I know something about it and I know the truth about it. So because of that, it is my responsibility. Now, Jerry, what are you talking about? So as you can see by the hat and the shirt that I'm wearing, I am a Freemason. I'm actually an ancient, free, and accepted Mason, AF and AM. There's free and accepted Masons and ancient, free, and accepted Masons, and I'm an ancient, free, and accepted Mason, a third degree Master Mason, which is as high as you can go in the Blue Lodge. Now, why are we talking about Freemasonry? Recently, there has been a conspiracy theory that's actually got some traction, and I'm seeing a lot. That George Floyd, the individual who was murdered by the police officer in Minneapolis, which has been the catalyst for the riots and protests that are going on right now, was in fact part of this Illuminati, quote unquote, they're using the term Freemason. They're kind of using them interchangeable, which they're technically not the same thing, but we'll get into the whole Illuminati thing another time. But George Floyd was a Freemason, and Freemasons control everything, and Freemasonry is evil, and Freemason this, Freemason that, and they're pointing out that him being a Freemason had something to do with his... It doesn't make any sense because it's trying to put it in the forefront without an explanation based on symbols that people think they know and rumors. Now, let me start by saying this. To become a Freemason, you cannot be convicted of any charges, ever, pretty much. Now, that's just part of it. So when you go to petition to become a Mason, they do a background check, which includes checking your arrest record. That is part of becoming a Mason. And then when the lodge votes on you, if for some reason someone in that lodge decides like, look, we don't feel, or I don't feel that this is right for our lodge or Freemasonry, this person, for whatever reason, they do interviews with them. It's a whole process of getting in. The person won't be able to become an actual Freemason. Now, George Floyd had several felony arrests, drugs. I mean, I saw his arrest record. I said, man, it's kind of a long arrest record. Now, let's just say he didn't have that arrest record when he became a Freemason. He did now. Once those charges would have stuck, when that would have happened the first time, whatever he had been arrested for the first time charged, he would have been banished from Freemasonry. So therefore, he would no longer be a Freemason. Now, that's just the first thing that points the direction to me that he wasn't a Freemason. Now, the reason why people are going with the Freemason is he had friends and family that were Freemasons, and he had this tattoo. Now, I can't really see the tattoo on George Floyd's chest and the pictures and stuff that they posted because it's a very muddy tattoo. It's like dark, it's not a lot of detail. Now, it kind of resembles the Scottish Rite. So when you get through the Blue Lodge to the first 3 degrees, you can branch out to the York Rite or Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite has the finishing degrees up to 32, and there is a 33rd degree, which is an honorary degree. Not everybody gets that. You're honored by giving that degree, which is the one more degree above the 32nd, which is an even more special place. Now, George Floyd, they're talking about, was a 33rd degree Mason. That's what that symbol is on his chest. For someone with an arrest record to be given that honor just wouldn't happen. Like, you would no longer be able to be a Freemason with an arrest record like that, let alone be given the honors of becoming a 33rd degree Mason. So again, negates that question. He was not a 33rd degree Mason. I mean, unless it would have to happen. He had this perfect life up until a certain point, became a Freemason, did unbelievable work as a Freemason, charity, I mean, just nonstop giving in his life to be able to be considered for a 33rd degree. And then after that, then he had all the rest with drugs and stuff like that. Would be the only case that would be possible. Now, more than likely, 99.99%, that's not possible. So he was not a Freemason. He was not a 33rd degree Mason. Now, I want to step further to see if there was anything with this. Now, people in his life were Freemasons, for what I understand. Now, that doesn't mean that you were a Freemason because people in your life are Freemason. I'm a Freemason, and there's nobody in my family or friends that are Freemasons. My brothers are, that were already Masons, but they weren't in my life before I went into Freemasonry. And something a lot of people don't know, and I've actually taken part in myself before, is the Masonic funeral rites. So as a Mason passes, the last honor that the brothers can give him is to memorialize him with the Masonic ritual at his funeral. So what I did was I went to George Floyd's pictures. I Googled as much as I could find. I went to every picture I could find of his funeral. And there were quite a few pictures because it was a big deal, and people did publish lots of professional pictures. It wasn't like just people with cell phones. There was a lot of pictures online that I found. There was not one shred of evidence that the Masonic rites were given. Now, if the Masonic rites were given, it is done in the public, so it's not one of the Masonic secrets. It is very moving. I've taken part in it. I've seen it. It's very moving. It is very different, and it is an absolute honor. So for his friends and family to be there, his brothers, his Freemason brothers, would want to honor him and give him those final rites as we put him in the ground and send him back to the great architect in the universe. There was no apron. There was no sprig of acacia. There were no brothers there lined up. There was none of it. And I'm sitting here going, that would be, especially, it stands out especially different when you see this. As the Masons come in their funeral suits, their attire, their black suits, with the aprons over the jackets, with the gloves on, to do this ritual, it is a very powerful thing. It is something that is honorable, and it would honor him. And it was something that would definitely be out there to the public because he would have wanted it out to the public if he was a Freemason, and so would the other brothers. We're very proud of Masonry. Masonry is one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. So after going through all of this, I said, you know what? The only conclusion I can come to is this individual, George Floyd, was not a Freemason. If he was, there would be evidence very clearly pointing towards these different things that I've said, and none of it is there. Now, is it absolutely possible? Not likely, but possible. Like I said, he had a perfect life that he lived, became a Freemason, went through the Scottish Rite, got to 32 to 32nd degree Mason. From that point on, had an exemplary, Freemasonry run, and then got in a bunch of trouble, somehow stayed in Freemasonry, and had the funeral rites, but it never was recorded and nobody put it up. Is that possible? Possible, yes. Likely, no. Now, what I can also tell you is this, and I don't know if this is true because I didn't check it out, but I did look online to see if it was confirmed by other people, because I'm not going to go start watching these stupid porn movies and stuff, because this guy, George Floyd, was apparently in porn movies. That would also exclude him from Freemasonry if he was doing something like that. So I look at it and I go, there's really no other conclusion you can come to other than the fact that he was not a Freemason. This had nothing to do with Freemasonry. He may have had Freemasons in his life that were around him, but that doesn't make him a Freemason, nor does it give him the rights and benefits of Freemasonry, nor does it even give him the right to have that tattoo on his chest. You cannot wear the compass, the square compass, or any of the symbols of Freemasonry unless you have been raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason. Now, the way that it works is you get initiated, passed, then raised. There are 3 degrees. You get initiated as an entered apprentice, you get passed to the degree of fellow craft, and then you get raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason. That would have been something that he would have had to have gone through, and had he gone through those 3 degrees and got to the point where he was a 32nd degree Master Mason in the Scottish Rite, he would have not allowed himself to get involved with those extracurricular activities that would get him in trouble. It's against Masonry. It's against what we believe. It's against what we do. Masonry is taking good men and making them better. It's about hope, faith, charity, being there for one another, being there for your community. It's not this death cult or this cult that wants to rule the world, which people like to say stuff about the Illuminati. The Illuminati were, yes, some of them were Masons, but you didn't have to be a Mason to be part of the Illuminati back in the day. The Illuminati was a group that was put together to try to rule the world. And it wasn't just Masons. There were other people involved in it also. Now, nowadays, when people talk about the Illuminati, Illuminati, I say, look, if they've been trying, this Illuminati, if they've been trying to take over the world for like 300 to 500 years, because Masonry goes back even farther than that, and they still haven't done it by now, they're really not good at it, and they should find something else to do, because they're not going to take over the world if they haven't done it 300 to 500 years. their plans have failed over and over again. So just by that alone, I kind of go, Illuminati thing. Now, are there people I think out there trying to control things? Absolutely. Do I think that they're the Illuminati? I actually don't. I believe that the Illuminati died off way back in the day, and I believe that because some of them were Freemasons, that gives the view that it's one and the same. It's like saying, people can understand this. Like, it's like saying that one black person beat up a white guy, therefore no black people like white guys, right? That's like saying these Masons were Illuminati, therefore all Masons are Illuminati. Now, one is racism, one's not, but it's the same exact principle. It's grouping everybody as a whole based on the actions of one, which is not right in any way, right? So I kind of look at this and I go, I dig these conspiracy theory things. I think they're absolutely entertaining. I think they're awesome. And many of them I don't know a whole lot about. This just happened to be one part of the conspiracy theory that I said, okay, this I get. And I've seen people on, online, and I've actually gone to defense of Freemasonry several times, explaining what Freemasonry is, explaining that George Floyd could not have been a Freemason, or there's a 99.99% chance that he was not a Freemason, that tattoo on his chest was something else that was similar, but it wasn't a Scottish Rite tattoo, or he was a Freemason and it wasn't in the end. Either way, Freemasonry had nothing to do with George Floyd at the time of his death, despite the speculation that Freemasonry is pretty much the all-encompassing evil that people think it is. I think you guys would be absolutely surprised and shocked if you saw the effort Freemasons put into trying to do the right thing all the time. And the one thing that people keep saying over and over again is the Freemasons worship Lucifer. Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, is the only one that we cannot worship. It's the only one we have to denounce before we can actually become a Freemason. You can believe in God, Allah, Buddha, you can believe in whatever you want, religious or spiritual wise you want. It cannot be the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. Cannot be that one. So that is the only reason that when I hear these things, I just laugh, because you guys don't understand. Freemasonry brings people together. It doesn't divide people. When I took my degrees, my fellow brother, who I went through 2 degrees with, was Muslim. When I took my obligations that we take very seriously, I took mine on a Bible. He took his on a Quran, standing right next to me together. That's 2 different religions that maybe normally wouldn't blend together, but we went through 2 degrees together, which bond us, almost like going through boot camp together, which bond us a little bit differently. And all of my Freemasons are my brothers, but I have this special connection with this brother because we went through it together. When he became a U.S. citizen, myself and some of the other brothers went to the courthouse. We watched him and his family get sworn in. We were able to be a part of that part of his life. And it was like watching my brother getting sworn in to be a U.S. citizen. Like, that's honestly how it feels. And as soon as you're raised to that sublime degree, actually, as soon as you become a Mason, you're entered, you feel different. When you get past, I'd say it's like, when you get past the fellowcraft, you're really more worried about, like, I can't wait to be a Master Mason, because that's when you really learn all the secrets of Freemasonry, when you're a Master Mason. And then finally, when you become a Master Mason, you actually feel different. You actually walk different. If any of you have seen me in the last year, May 28th, I was 1 year, it's been 1 year, May 28th, since I was raised to sublime degree of Master Mason. Even the way I talk now is differently. I watch my words more carefully. And like I said, it's been one of the most positive things I've ever done in my life. And I can't see any downside about it. So when I see people out there trying to put it down and destroy it, or trying to just give it a bad name and drive people away from it, I go, look, here's the deal. Not everybody gets to be a Freemason. Not everybody gets to be a baseball player. Not everybody gets to be the President of the United States, whatever the case may be. But those that are fit for the job will be able to get it. We'll be able to go there. We'll be able to do what they want to do. And like everything else, there is a way to weed out the individuals that really don't belong there. And even the ones that want to get into it, that decide once they get there, sometimes they go, yeah, this is not for me. You know, sometimes they realize, like, look, I can't put the time into it. I mean, we do a lot of things. We do a lot of things for the community. We raise a lot of money. We do a lot of things as far as toys for tots for Christmas. I actually play Santa Claus. I put on the Santa Claus suit and the fake beard and stuff, and I sit there and I talk to kids about what they want for Christmas. We do various things like the blood drive. We do the fingerprinting for the kids. We help the sheriffs and the police force do the fingerprinting for the kids for 4th of July to make sure they're all in the database. So if they get kidnapped, we have them on file. I mean, there's so many things that get done, and you just never hear about them. You hear about these strange things about Luciferian ritual and all this crazy stuff that I don't know what happened 200 years ago. I don't know what happened 300 years ago. I don't know what the actual Illuminati did when they started 100 years ago, whatever it was. What I can tell you is Freemasonry now is about being there for one another, being there for your community, trying to be a better person every day. And I don't see a downside to that anywhere. One of the other things that is a great benefit to Freemasonry is many of the members have been Masons for a long time, and they're a lot older. We're talking about, I'm 44, these guys, they're 60, 70, 80, maybe even up to 90 years old, still coming to lodge. Talking to these individuals that have been through life, been through wars, been through everything at 90 years old, 80 years old, you get wisdom. You get little nuggets of wisdom from them that you don't get until you're their age. So just being around them helps you navigate your own life to be able to understand things that you normally wouldn't, because you have somebody there that's been through it all. So I'm going to leave it there, because I think I did a pretty good job of representing what Freemasonry is. And I would just like people, again, to keep an open mind and not believe everything you hear, see, and read online. There's a lot of things out there that I'm sure, if there are clubs that you belong to or things that you're into or industries that you're into, I guarantee that at some point you've looked online and see some kind of weird, terrible things that people are saying about whatever it is that you're into. And you're like, why would people say that? Like, I don't understand. It's the same. It's not just Freemasonry, it's everything out there. People like to create these more dramatic type of narratives and stuff like that. And I don't think they realize what it really does to the people that are involved with those things, right? It's bullying us, it's putting us down, it's trying to make us feel bad for something that we're not doing. We have no clue what's going on. It's just flat out lies, and that's wrong. And I felt like I had to speak up, and hopefully this clears up a lot of things. So hopefully you guys are doing well on this Monday morning. You had a good, safe weekend, and things will keep progressing to the point where we can get to a place where we're all okay again. COVID-free, riot-free, protest-free, and we can live in harmony. Is that a possibility? I don't know at this point. I just hope so. You guys have a great day. I'm Biosphere, and I approve this message, and we are out.